Cure, a wild rose adventure. A coming-of-age first-contact adventure in a town that refuses to believe the impossible. This book written by Brent Walters. Others may not reproduce or distribute it without your permission, apart from short quotations in a review. For the dreamers who wander beyond the fence line, and for everyone brave enough to believe the impossible might be real. 1. Fence line. The lamb does not want its ear tagged, which is fair. It plants all 4 feet in the straw and leans backward with the stubborn little weight of a wet sack. I have one arm around its middle and the tagger in my other hand. Its mother stands outside the pen, making a noise like a rusty hinge. Hold still, I tell it. The lamb twists harder. Good talk. Daniel, my dad, comes through the shed door carrying a bucket of grain. Cold harbour air follows him in, sharp with salt and diesel. His feed cap is dark at the brim from mist. He sets the bucket down, catches the lamb's back legs without being asked, and lifts. I tag the ear, green plastic, number 42. The lamb makes one outraged squeak and scrambles free.
42,
Dad says, looking at my notebook. I can read.
Just checking.
You check everything twice. He gives me the look he saves for bent fence staples and bad weather forecasts. Then he starts scattering grain into the troughs. Outside, our fields slope down toward the harbour. The berry rows are still bare and brown, tied against the last hard weather. Beyond them, Genoa Bay stacks itself along the water. Grey roofs, white church steeple, cannery smoke, the blue smear of a fishing boat heading out past the breakwater. Our farm sits above all of it, as if it is trying to keep an eye on the town. I write down 43, 44, 45. The ewes steam in the chilly shed, their wool smelling damp and animal and familiar enough that I barely notice it anymore. My hands are already raw from the cold and the tagging gun. Dad pulls an envelope from under the grain bucket. He reads it once, jaw working, then folds it into quarters and slides it into the inside pocket of his coat. I keep writing. Feed company again? I ask.
Nothing.
It's got their blue logo.
Then it's blue logo nothing.
He reaches for the next lamb. I could ask how much. I could ask whether we have enough saved for the fertilizer delivery. Instead, I grab the lamb's front legs and keep my eyes on the tagger. That is how things go in our house. He hides numbers in seed catalogues. I pretend I do not see them. We make room around the missing pieces and call it getting on. By 10, the sun has broken through enough cloud to turn the wet yard white. Dad sends me down to the lower pasture with the fence kit.
South corner's sagging,
He says.
Ewes found it yesterday.
They always find it.
They're sheep. It's their calling.
I shoulder the kit and walk through mud that tries to keep my boots. The lower fence runs close to Breaker Wood, where the trees begin in a dark green wall. Spruce, alder, old maple, all tangled together under a low grey sky. I can see the gap before I reach it. One of the cedar posts has tipped inward, pulling the wire loose. A ewe has pushed her face through and is chewing on whatever she can reach on the other side. Get back in your own field, I tell her. She blinks at me, unimpressed. Dad comes down with a replacement brace post balanced on one shoulder. We work without talking at first. I hold the old post upright while he drives the new brace into the ground. He passes me the fencing pliers before I ask. I hand him staples from the open tin, one at a time, because he hates when they spill in the grass. When I was little, I thought this was what fathers and daughters did best. They did not have to say much. They knew what tool was wanted. They stood close enough at the right moment. Now I am 18, and every quiet thing feels like it has another quiet thing behind it.
Harbour market at noon.
Dad says, hammering a staple halfway in.
We'll take the last of the frozen berries. Mrs. Bell wants 6 lambskins too.
I thought you said she owed us money.
She does.
So we're giving her more things?
She's paying cash today.
Maybe. Dad leaves the staple flush.
Maybe.
We tug the fence wire together, hard enough that it sings. I brace my heel against the post while Dad loops it tight. His cracked knuckles are white around the pliers.
You hear from you, Vic?
He asks. I know what he means before the sentence is finished. The college packet has been sitting on the kitchen counter for 3 weeks, glossy and patient. Environmental systems, soil science, a dorm with windows that look over a city I have rarely seen. No.
You ought to call them.
I will.
They'll want an answer.
I know how colleges work. Dad straightens, breathing through his nose.
Didn't say you didn't.
The wind comes up from the harbour and flaps his coat against his legs. A gull circles overhead, crying like something being hurt. I hook the loose wire into place. Gate's fixed. He studies the repair, then nods once.
Good.
That is the end of it. At the harbour market, Mayor Rowe finds us before we have gotten half the berry boxes off the truck. She is wearing a red raincoat bright enough to be seen from offshore, with a campaign pin still stuck to the collar, even though the election was months ago. Her family owns the cannery, half the old warehouses, and a house on the bluff that has more windows than ours has rooms. Wild Rose, she says, as if she has been looking for me.
You're getting taller every time I see you.
I stopped around 15.
Well, you carry yourself taller.
She turns to Daniel, smiling.
You must be proud. She's the future of that farm.
Dad's hand closes around a box of frozen raspberries. People nearby nod. Mr. Bell looks up from the lambskins. Mrs. Doran, who taught me math in 7th grade, says, her mother would have loved that. The whole market seems to wait for me to smile. I can feel the cold of the berry box through my gloves. I can smell fish scales, fryer grease, wet rope. Everything in Genoa Bay has a place for me. Daniel's daughter, Ellen's girl, the farm's future, the useful one who knows how to mend a gate and lift a lamb and keep her head down. Mayor Rowe touches my sleeve.
We need young people who stay, keep the old places going.
I've got to get the cash tin, I say. It is not an answer, which is why I use it. Behind the truck, Dad is stacking empty crates. He does not look at me.
You could have said thank you.
He says. For what?
For her saying something kind.
She said I was a fence post with boots. He almost smiles. Almost.
Rose.
I pull the cash tin from beneath the driver's seat. Mr. Bell's waiting. Dad lets out a breath and turns back to the crates. We get home after 3. The market money goes into the kitchen drawer, under the stack of unpaid bills Dad thinks I do not know about. He starts peeling potatoes. I stand at the sink with my coat still on, staring out toward Breaker Wood.
You heading out?
He asks. Checking stock.
In the wood?
Fence runs near it.
You already fixed the fence.
I grab my field notebook from the counter. Then I'm checking it twice. His knife stops against the cutting board. For a second, I think he will tell me not to go. He has said it before, especially since Mum died. Stay clear of the ravine. Don't wander after dark. Keep to the marked trails. Instead, he says,
Supper at 6.
Sure.
The word comes too fast. Breaker Wood begins behind the lower pasture, past the old stone wall that is sunk crookedly into moss. Once I am under the trees, the harbour disappears. So do the roofs, the market voices, the college packet waiting on the counter. The ground is soft with needles and last year's leaves. Water ticks from branches. I slow down where the trail narrows beside the ravine. Mum's survey stake stands there, or what is left of it, a square length of iron leaning half out of the mud. I found it last autumn under a mat of fern roots, stamped with the same little compass mark she used in the margins of her field maps. Dad doesn't know I come here. I kneel and pull my brass soil probe from my jacket pocket. It was Mum's too. The handle is worn smooth where her thumb must have rested. I press it into the earth beside the stake, testing depth, then wedge stones around the base and push the iron straight. It takes longer than it should. My fingers get filthy. Rain soaks through one knee of my jeans. When the stake finally holds, I sit back on my heels. A blue light flickers across the ravine. I freeze. It comes again, low and cold, shining from somewhere beyond the fallen spruce. No flashlight throws light like that. It has no beam. It stains the wet ferns from underneath, turning every bead of water electric. My stomach drops so hard I taste metal. The sensible thing is to leave. Go home. Tell Dad there's somebody in the woods, or a broken power line, or anything that belongs in the world I understand. Then the light pulses a third time. I shove the soil probe back into my pocket and climb down into the ravine. The spruce must have come down in the last storm. Its roots have ripped open a wall of earth, stones, and black cables thick as my wrist. Beneath its branches, half buried in clay and wrapped in centuries of roots, is a smooth, curved hull. Blue light leaks from a seam in the metal. I put one muddy hand against it. The surface is warm. 2. Ember voice. I leave my hand on the hull until the heat gets through the mud on my palm. Then I jerk it back and nearly slide down the ravine. The blue seam goes dark. For a few seconds there is only the rain clicking through spruce branches and my own breathing, too loud in the narrow cut of earth. The thing beneath the tree roots is bigger than I first thought. The curved surface keeps going under the clay bank. Black metal without a scratch where stormwater has washed it clean. A boat, I think stupidly. No boat has a warm skin or a blue light trapped under its seams.
Supper,
I say out loud, because the word is safer than what I am looking at. I climb out of the ravine so fast I tear my hand on a broken branch. By the time I reach the pasture, the blue light is hidden behind trees. The sheep are bunched near the fence, staring toward the wood as if they have heard something I cannot. Dad is waiting on the back steps when I get home. The porch light makes a yellow circle around him. He has changed out of his work coat, but there is still dirt under his nails. A covered plate sits beside him on the bench.
You said 6.
He says. I check the kitchen clock through the window. 8:37.
lost track.
Doing what?
The lie arrives so easily it makes me angry.
Checking the drainage ditch.
Dad looks past me toward Breaker Wood. I scrape mud from my boots against the step until there's nothing left to scrape.
Ditch takes 2.5 hours now.
Was blocked.
He nods once, though he does not believe me.
Eat before it goes cold.
Inside, he has left potatoes, lamb stew, and sliced apple on the plate. He does that when he is mad, makes food like a person can be fed back into good sense. I eat standing at the counter. My fingers shake enough to rattle the fork against the plate. Dad is at the sink washing the same mug for too long.
Yuvik called.
He says. I swallow too fast.
Okay,
They said there's a deadline on the housing deposit.
of course there is.
You don't have to decide tonight.
I look at the dark window over the sink. My reflection is pale and muddy, with a scratch across one cheek and a fern needle caught in my cropped hair.
Good,
I say.
because I'm not deciding tonight.
His shoulders go stiff. He dries the mug and sets it upside down on the rack. I take my plate upstairs before he can ask another question. I do not sleep. I lie under the quilt and listen to the house settle around me. The harbour foghorn sounds sometime after midnight. At 2, I get up and stand at my window. Breaker Wood is a black ridge beyond the lower field. At 4, I put on my boots. The ravine looks smaller in daylight. That helps for exactly 3 minutes. I have brought a flashlight, my field notebook, a pocket knife, wire cutters, and the old canvas tool roll Dad gave me when I turned 16. The tool roll feels useful in my hand. It has pliers and screwdrivers and a small adjustable wrench. Things made for bolts that have heads and wires that obey rules. The spruce branches have fallen farther overnight. I have to crawl on my stomach through wet needles and mud to reach the gap beside the hull. Inside, the air is warm and dry. I stop with my shoulders wedged between metal walls. The opening must have been split by the fallen tree, though I cannot see how. The edge is smooth, folded inward like softened wax. Beyond it is a narrow passage lit by nothing I can name. The floor slopes down. Thin lines under the surface glow blue, then fade as if something is breathing beneath them.
Nope.
I whisper. My voice comes back to me from deeper in the ship, flat and wrong. I should get out. I should tell somebody. Dad, maybe? The fire department? Mayor Rowe, if I want the whole town standing at the farm gate by noon. Instead, I crawl farther in. The passage opens into a low round chamber. Most of it is buried behind a collapse of roots and earth, but one wall is clear. A console rises from the floor in a half circle, dark except for a palm-sized patch of amber light. There is no dust on it. I touch the amber patch with one finger. The chamber wakes. Light sweeps around the walls. Symbols flare above the console, changing too quickly to read. Something hums under the floor, deep enough to feel in my teeth. I scramble backward and hit my head on the ceiling.
Biological interface confirmed.
A voice says. It is not loud. It is everywhere. I wedge myself against the wall.
Who said that?
Language alignment initiated. Please remain within sensor range.
You first.
A pause.
Clarification. I am already within sensor range.
The amber patch brightens. Above it, light gathers into a map of stars. I know that because I have seen star maps in books. This one has too many points, too many moving lines, and a red stain spreading through the middle of it.
My designation is Vex.
The voice says.
I am the surviving operational intelligence of quarantine vessel Zenga 9.
My mouth has gone dry.
You're a computer.
An insufficient description. Functional, however.
Quarantine for what?
The red stain expands. Tiny pale lights vanish behind it.
Asteri Blight. Transmission category. Adaptive biological cascade. Confirmed mortality among unprotected Asteri populations approaches totality.
The chamber seems to tilt.
How many people?
Asteri are not human people.
You know what I mean.
Another pause. Exactly long enough for me to notice it.
Current population estimate is 11,642,000, according to last viable archive synchronization.
11 million. The red stain crawls over another cluster of lights.
What does that have to do with me?
Your contact restored partial power. This vessel requires manual repair and launch authorization to reach the lunar archive on Earth's moon called Farside. The archive contains a Cure route data.
Earth's what?
Moon. Farside base.
I laugh once. It comes out thin and ugly.
You crashed in Breaker Wood,
Correct.
and you need me to fly you to the moon.
Operationally, yes.
Why me?
Because you are present.
That is almost funny. I grip the edge of the console until my knuckles hurt. A line of symbols resolves into words I can read. Asteri extinction. Window, 7 days, 2 hours, 16 minutes. The numbers count down while I watch.
You're lying.
I say.
Define the evidence threshold required for your cooperation.
Proof. Real proof. Something I can check without taking your word for it.
The amber light flickers.
Acceptable. This region contains an abandoned electrical conduit laid at a depth of 1.8 meters. It runs from the northern pasture boundary to a former pumping station beneath Genoa Bay Harbor. The conduit was severed in 1987. Current leak pattern indicates a copper junction beneath a granite marker shaped as an upright wedge.
I stare at the map it projects over the console. A blue line cuts across our lower pasture.
There's no pumping station under the harbor.
There was.
You could have found that from records.
I have no access to your records.
Then how do you know about the line?
Subsurface scan.
The answer lands too cleanly. I crawl out of the ship without replying. I spend the next hour crossing the wet field with my soil probe, measuring from the north fence exactly where the map showed. My heart is thudding hard enough to make my hands clumsy. At the granite boundary stone, I push the probe down. 1 foot, 2, it strikes something solid. I dig with the folding spade from the tool roll until I uncover a blackened cable. Thick and split open, its copper guts turned green. It runs straight toward the harbor. I sit back in the mud. The ship knows things it should not know. When I return to the ravine, the amber console is waiting.
Evidence threshold met?
Vex asks. I hate that it sounds almost polite. Partly.
Partial compliance is operationally useful.
Don't call it that.
Then provide a preferred term.
I look at the red numbers. 7 days. I picture 11 million people I cannot picture at all, dying under a sky I have never seen. Tell me what's broken, I say. The console projects the ship in sections. Most of the picture is red.
Primary drive regulator is damaged. Beacon array is disabled. Navigation core is fragmented. Several components were removed following impact by local custodians.
The last word catches me. Local who? The amber light dims for 3 beats.
Individuals from nearby human settlements. Their descendants may retain relevant materials necessary to reboot repair nanobots.
People knew this was here?
Knowledge has been managed over successive generations.
By who?
Unavailable.
That's convenient.
Corruption affects multiple memory sectors.
The way it says it makes me think it is holding something back. I do not know why. I only know Dad has used that same flat voice when he wants a question to die. A shriek slices through the woods. I flinch so hard I slam my hip against the console. The ship answers with a rising whine. Blue light bursts through the split hull, stronger than before. It races up the ravine walls and flashes across the field. Then every sound outside cuts out. No gulls, no wind, no sheep. A second later, the harbor radio crackles from somewhere far beyond the trees. It is loud enough to hear across the pasture, voices broken into sharp bursts.
Anybody copy? All channels dead. Rose Place. Signal coming from the ridge.
Vex says,
Unauthorized emission detected.
You did that?
Power instability. Containment attempt in progress.
I scramble toward the opening. At the top of the ravine, Tessa Rose stands beside the fence. She is still in her cannery coveralls, red hair tied up under a knit cap. She has one hand on the top wire and the other holding a portable radio that spits static. For one impossible second, we stare at each other.
Rose,
She calls.
what are you doing down there?
Blue light spills through the spruce behind me. I run. I do not stop until I am in the sheep shed, bent over beside the feed bins with my lungs scraping raw. Something hard presses against my jacket pocket. I pull it out. A sliver of amber crystal, no longer than my thumb, must have broken loose when the console surged. It glows faintly between my dirty fingers. Dad's truck turns into the yard. I hear the engine, the door slam, his boots crossing the gravel. There are 100 places I could hide the shard. My room, the barn loft, under the loose floorboard by the kitchen stove. I lift the lid of the sheep feed bin and bury it deep in the pellets. Then I pull the lid shut and turn as Dad opens the shed door.
What happened at the ridge?
He asks. I wipe my hands on my jeans. Nothing. 3. Static at the hall. By morning, the radio problem has a name. Nobody calls it a blackout anymore. Blackouts are ordinary. A transformer blows, a storm takes a line, the volunteer fire crew gets a ladder truck out and people stand around in raincoats complaining about freezer food. This is called interference. It comes and goes across Genoa Bay. Boat radios spit out a low whistle. The cannery's safety channel repeats a string of numbers. The school bus driver reports hearing her own voice say the road names backward. At breakfast, Dad turns the kitchen radio on low while he drinks coffee.
2.86 north,
The announcer says through a wash of static.
5.11 west, 2.86 north.
Dad's mug stops halfway to his mouth. Those are not the coordinates from Vex's map. I memorized them anyway. The first numbers point to Breaker Wood, close enough to our lower pasture that my stomach tightens. He switches the radio off. What was that? I ask.
Garbage signal.
You knew where it was from. Dad gets up and carries his mug to the sink.
Fire hall's calling a meeting at noon.
Why?
Because the radios are acting up.
That's a big emergency. His eyes cut toward me.
Don't start.
I look down at my toast. The crust is burned. He does that when he's worried, cooks until the kitchen smells bitter, and then acts like he meant to. The amber shard is still in the sheep feed bin. I checked before dawn. It was warm under the pellets, pulsing against my palm like a small trapped heart. Vex had spoken from it in a whisper when I held it to my ear.
6 days, 4 hours remaining.
Then, after I asked what it wanted,
Recover the removed components.
as if that were a thing a person could do before breakfast. The fire hall is full by noon. Wet coats crowd the hooks by the door. Somebody has set out coffee in the back, and the room smells of burnt grounds, damp wool, and the sharp chemical tang of old extinguishers. Mayor Rowe stands at the front beside the radio cabinet. Tessa is near the back with her arms folded, watching me in a way that makes the back of my neck itch. Dad takes a seat beside Mr. Bell and does not look over when I slide into the row behind him.
Short meeting.
Mayor Rowe says.
The harbor master has asked that all non-essential boat traffic stay docked until the interference clears. The Coast Guard has been notified.
Notified of what? Someone calls.
Of a regional communications issue.
That ain't regional.
Mr. Bell says.
My radio started saying my dead brother's name.
A low murmur moves through the hall. Mayor Rowe's face stays smooth, but her fingers close around the edge of the folding table.
Equipment misidentifies patterns. It does strange things under stress.
It knew a name.
Mr. Bell says. The cabinet behind her clicks. Every head turns. The old emergency radio inside it hisses to life without anyone touching it. Static fills the hall, then clears enough for a voice to form.
2.86 north,
It says.
5.11 west. Wild Rose, Wild Rose, Wild Rose.
The room goes silent in the ugly way a room does when people decide they have heard something they will talk about later. My face burns. Tessa's mouth falls open. Dad stands so fast his chair legs screech against the floor. Mayor Rowe steps to the cabinet and flicks the radio switch off. The voice continues.
Wild Rose.
She unplugs the unit. It keeps talking.
Meeting's over.
she says. Nobody moves at first. Then Dad turns toward me.
Outside.
I stand because sitting would make everyone stare longer. In the hall, he catches my elbow. His grip is hard enough to hurt, though he lets go as soon as he notices.
What have you done?
The question hits so close I almost tell him. The ship, Vex, the red stain swallowing stars, the amber shard buried in feed. Instead I say, nothing.
Your name came through every radio in town.
Then maybe ask whoever's saying it. His jaw works.
Miss Rose.
What? You're allowed to know things and I'm not? The words are out before I can stop them. His face changes. Not much. That is worse,
I don't know what you're talking about.
he says. Sure. I walk away before he can tell me to stop. Behind the fire hall, the rain has quit. Water drips from the gutters into a rusted barrel. I take the shard from my coat pocket and press it to my ear. For a moment, there is only a thin whine. Then Vex says,
The broadcast has been redirected.
by who?
Local transmission equipment contains a resonance pattern consistent with removed vessel hardware.
English.
The cabinet contains part of this ship.
I stare at the fire hall wall. Can you tell me which part?
Signal modulation is degraded. I can guide you.
No, you can tell me.
The probability of accurate identification increases if you proceed 23 paces east.
I hate that I do it. I count anyway. 23 paces puts me beside the back window, where a narrow service door leads to the radio room. The knob is locked. Through the glass, I can see the cabinet's rear panel and a line of grey filing drawers. The hall is emptying through the front. Voices carry around the building. Mayor Rowe is telling somebody there will be another notice by evening. I slip a thin screwdriver from my tool roll under the door latch. Dad taught me how to do this when I was 13 and locked us out of the tractor shed. He had laughed then. Now I hear his voice in my head saying, "Don't damage the frame." The latch gives with a small metal pop. Inside, the radio cabinet hums at the base. I crouch behind it, following the sound in the amber shard. A brass panel, bolted low against the wall, has been painted over so many times it looks like part of the baseboard. The screws are old. I work them loose one by one. Behind the panel is a cavity full of dust, paper, and a small black box with the same smooth, scratched surface as the hull in the ravine. My breath catches. There is a ledger beneath it. Leather cover, cracked spine. On the first page, in faded blue ink, someone has written, Breaker Custody, 1894. Names fill the pages beneath. Rowe, Bell, Doran, Vale, Rose. Beside each name are dates and blunt notes. Lightfall contained, debris moved, E. Doran missing after beacon event. Family notified, J. Rose covered fallen star, boundary ravine, no public report. I turn the pages too fast, looking for Dad, looking for Mum. A slip of paper falls out. It has one of Elin Rose's survey marks on it, the little compass symbol stamped into the corner. My hands go cold.
Put it down.
Dad says. I spin around. He is standing in the doorway, rain darkening the shoulders of his coat. He must have followed me. Of course he did. I have never been as quiet as I think I am. He sees the ledger open in my hands. Then he sees the paper. For a second, he looks older than he did that morning. Where did you get that mark? I ask.
Rose, give me the book.
Mum knew.
Give me the book.
She knew about the ravine. She knew about this. I shove the ledger toward him, finger pressed to the old Rose entry. You knew too. Dad takes one step inside.
Your mother found things she shouldn't have. I told her to leave them.
She died 11 years ago. You've had 11 years to say that sentence to me. His face shuts down.
This isn't the place.
It never is. The black box in the cavity gives a faint blue pulse. Dad sees it. Every bit of colour drains from him.
What did you touch?
He asks. The fear in his voice makes me reckless. So, you do know?
Miss Rose, what did you touch?
I grab the black box and the ledger. Under them is a small steel key on a chain, stamped with a crescent shape. I take that too. Dad catches my wrist. For 1 second, I think he will pull it all away. Instead, he looks down at my hand, at the mud ground, into the lines of my knuckles, and loosens his grip. From the front of the building, Mayor Rowe calls.
Daniel?
He says very low.
Go home.
Tell me what this is.
Go home now.
Tessa appears in the doorway behind him. Her eyes land on the open cabinet, the loose panel, the things in my arms.
Oh,
She says. Mayor Rowe comes around the corner. She stops when she sees the black box. Nobody speaks. Then she looks at Dad, and something passes between them that has nothing to do with me. Exhaustion, maybe. Or practice.
The lights are grief.
Mayor Rowe says quietly.
That's what my grandmother called them. They come when somebody digs where they shouldn't.
I almost laugh. It is such a stupid thing to say to a room full of proof. They're a ship, I say. There's something in the woods, and you all knew. Tessa flinches. Mr. Bell, still lingering outside, crosses himself. Mayor Rowe takes a step toward me.
Miss Rose, you've been under strain. Your mother's things, the farm, school. We can get you somewhere quiet.
The room narrows until I can barely breathe. Daniel says my name once. A warning, a plea. I cannot tell. I shove past him and run. The ledger thumps against my ribs. The crescent key bites into my fist. Behind me, people call after me, but I do not turn around. For the waking hull. I do not go home. I cut through the churchyard, cross the lower pasture, and slide down the ravine with the ledger under my jacket. The black component bumps against my ribs. The crescent key has warmed in my fist. Behind me, Genoa Bay's radios keep coughing up static. The ship is waiting beneath the fallen spruce, blue light leaking through its split side. I crawl inside, wet to the elbows, and set everything on the amber console. Vex wakes at once.
Recovered material detected. Launch viability increases to 39%.
Which one goes where?
Your language remains imprecise.
Then improve yours. The console throws a diagram above the curve of the wall. The black box appears in amber outline, connected to a hollow compartment behind the console. The crescent key rotates beside a thin seam in the floor. I plug in the box first. It fits with a click that travels through the hull. Blue lines light beneath my knees, one after another, disappearing under the collapsed part of the ship.
Beacon modulator restored.
Vex says.
Please insert navigation authorization.
The key?
Correct.
I press the crescent key into the seam. The floor opens like an eye. A round socket rises from below, ringed with symbols. When I turn the key, a section of wall slides aside, exposing a fist-sized bundle of severed conduits. They are not wires the way our farm has wires. They are braided silver threads inside clear tubing, many of them cut clean through. Somebody did this on purpose. A strip of metal has been screwed over the damage, and stamped along its edge is Mum's compass mark. For a moment, I can only stare. I take the folded paper from the ledger and hold it beside the stamp. Same mark, same little notch on the west point.
Rose.
Vex says.
Repair is required.
She put this here.
Identity uncertain.
My mother. The amber light falters. I am angry enough to want it to say something wrong so I can break it. Instead, it projects a repair map, all calm instructions and colored lines.
Power must be routed through the agricultural electrical circuit detected above ground,
It says,
then bridge the severed conductors.
the farm line?
Former pumping conduit. Its copper core can convey sufficient charge for 9 seconds.
The buried cable I dug up yesterday? The one that runs from our pasture to the old harbor station. I laugh under my breath. Of course. The laugh turns into a sound I do not recognize. I wipe my face with the heel of my hand before it can become anything else. Outside, a branch snaps. I spin around. Dad is crouched in the opening, his coat muddy to the shoulders. He has a canvas tool bag slung over one arm and a red battery lantern in the other. You followed me, I say.
You ran out of a public building carrying stolen property.
It wasn't stolen.
Miss Rose.
He looks past me at the lit console, the blue lines on the floor, the exposed alien conduits. For a second, his hand tightens around the lantern handle so hard the plastic creaks. Then he sighs.
Okay.
Then he crawls inside. You knew, I say.
I knew there was something down here.
That's not what I asked.
No,
He sets the tool bag beside me.
it isn't.
He pulls out a soldering iron, a spool of solder, insulated gloves, wire strippers, farm tools, ordinary tools. The sight of them inside this impossible room hits me harder than the lights did. You brought a soldering iron.
Could be useful.
You won't tell me what Mum knew, but you brought tools. Dad looks at the cut conduits.
She found the boundary marks, started tracking them, said they were older than town records. I told her to leave it alone.
What else? His jaw works. Dad.
She thought somebody was watching the farm.
His voice is flat.
After she got sick, she made me promise you wouldn't come down here.
Cold moves through me, even in the ship's warm air. You made that promise and never said why.
I was trying to keep you safe.
You kept a spaceship in the woods.
I kept you alive.
The words land too hard. My breath catches. For one sharp second, I am 11 again, kneeling in the lambing shed while rain hammers the roof. Mum has been gone 3 weeks. Mr. Bell is speaking softly near the door, and Dad says,
She's all I have.
I remember being proud. I remember thinking it meant I was enough. Now it sounds like a fence being shut. Don't say that like it's my job, I tell him. Dad's face folds inward. He looks down at the tools. Vex says,
Extinction window. 5 days. 1 hour. 40 minutes. Launch alignment to lunar far side. Will close in 18 minutes.
Dad reaches for the soldering iron.
Show me the break.
No, I say. He looks up. I'm doing it. The words shake, so I pick up the tool bag and drag it closer. My hands need work. Dad gives a short nod.
Fine. You solder the silver threads. I'll run the farm line.
You know where it is?
Your mother mapped it.
He takes the ledger from my jacket, opens it to the back pages. Under the custody lists are copies of her survey notes, folded small and hidden in the binding.
I found these after she died. Didn't understand half of it.
There are marks for the ravine, the pasture, the old pumping conduit. A line circles the buried cable and ends at the ship. Dad pulls out a length of fence wire from the bag.
You have gloves?
Vex says.
Manual contact will improve bridge stability.
Dad's head snaps toward the console.
No.
Bare skin gives it the best connection, I say.
No.
I don't have time to argue.
You do not put your hands on unknown current.
Then tell me a better way. He has none. We move fast after that. Dad climbs back out and runs for the boundary stone. I hear him swearing at roots and mud through the split hull. I strip insulation from the fence wire. The alien conduits bend when I touch them, soft as wet grass, and snap blue sparks against my knuckles. Vex counts down the alignment in a steady voice.
7 minutes.
I solder 2 silver threads together. The iron hisses. The smell is hot metal and burned resin.
4 minutes.
The blue lines in the floor flash, then fail.
The agricultural circuit is live.
Vex says. Somewhere above, the old cable starts to hum.
2 minutes.
I wrap the fence wire around the last 2 severed ends. It slips off. My fingers are slick with sweat. I try again. The ship shakes. Manual stabilization required, Vex says. I pull off one glove.
Rose,
Dad calls from outside.
wait.
I clamp my bare hand over the twisted wire. Pain bites straight through my arm. White light bursts behind my eyes. I scream once and keep holding on. The hull answers. Blue fire races through the conduits. Roots writhe against the ceiling. The collapsed wall shudders, then pushes outward with a groan of split earth and snapping spruce. Dad drops through the opening just as a hatch irises open on the far side of the chamber. Get in, I say through clenched teeth. He looks at the hatch, then at the ship coming together around us.
You don't know where that takes you.
Moon's far side.
That's not better.
I almost laugh. My whole body is shaking. The console says, launch alignment confirmed. Dad reaches into his coat. He holds out Mum's brass soil probe.
You left this on the kitchen table.
He says. I stare at it. I didn't.
I found it in your room.
His hand stays extended.
Take it.
The ship's lights turn from blue to hard white. I grab the probe. Dad catches my shoulder with his free hand, quick and rough.
Come back.
He says. He ducks out of the hatch and the iris closes. Then the floor rushes up from beneath me. 5. Farside silence. I wake floating sideways. For a few seconds, I think the ship has crashed again. My shoulder is against the ceiling. My frizzy red hair hangs in my eyes. The brass soil probe drifts in front of my face, turning slowly end over end. Then my stomach decides it has had enough of space. I catch the service bag Vex left beside the seat and retch until my ribs hurt.
Vestibular disruption is expected.
Vex says from the amber console.
Could have warned me.
Warning would not have altered the disruption. Would you like Earth gravity?
I wipe my mouth with the back of my burned hand. The skin across my palm is red and swollen where I held the fence wire. It aches with every beat of my pulse.
Yes. How long before we get there?
Transit duration, 3 hours, 42 minutes. Earthside time is no longer useful as a primary reference. Asteri extinction window, 4 days, 11 hours.
That's useful.
I am adapting.
I grab the edge of the seat and pull myself toward the front viewport. The moon fills it. I have seen pictures, obviously. Grey dust, black sky, flags and boot prints, and people saying things that get carved into school walls. None of those pictures prepared me for the size of it. The surface rolls below us in hard silver ridges, every shadow black enough to fall into. No clouds, no water, no harbor. Earth hangs behind us, blue and white, and too far away to be called home without sounding ridiculous.
Where's the archive?
I ask.
Below.
The ship drops behind a mountain ridge that blocks Earth completely. Darkness takes the viewport. I feel the change in my teeth. A line of pale lights appears along the base of the ridge. They are buried in the dust, leading to a narrow slit in the rock.
That's it?
The Lunar Archive was designed to remain unremarkable.
Good job.
The ship settles without a bump. The hatch opens onto a small chamber where the walls are covered in frost. Vex has laid out a suit for me, white and silver, with boots that have thick magnetic soles to help with the light lunar gravity. I stare at it.
I don't know how to put that on.
Your body dimensions were scanned during emergency stabilization. The suit has adjusted.
That is a creepy sentence.
Your objection is recorded.
Getting into it takes 15 minutes and one near panic when the helmet seals over my head. My own breathing fills my ears. The suit smells faintly of rubber and metal. When I step onto the lunar floor, the boots latch down with a hard clack. The weak pull of the moon reaches through me. Each step feels wrong, too light and too slow. Dust rises around my feet in soft grey clouds that do not settle quickly. I hold Mum's soil probe against my chest under the suit layers. I do not need it here. There is no soil, only powder and rock. Still, I brought it. The archive entrance opens when Vex sends a blue signal through the ridge. Inside, the air is thin but breathable. My helmet retracts around my neck with a hiss. The passage beyond is lined with glass cells. Most are dark. Some hold machines I cannot name. Some hold nothing except shelves of little black discs. Everything is coated in grey dust.
Did everybody leave?
I ask.
Archive personnel evacuated during the first quarantine wave.
Where did they go?
No answer. I look toward the amber glow in my wrist display.
Vex.
Survival records are incomplete.
That means dead. I am learning its language. We pass through vault after vault. In one, a dried plant with blue-veined leaves hangs inside a glass cylinder. In another, rows of metal drawers pulse faintly as we go by. There are murals on the walls, though the faces in them have been scratched away by time or purpose. Tall, thin figures in layered masks, stars arranged in patterns that make my eyes lose focus. At the end of a long corridor, a door opens onto a round room. The ceiling is a black dome full of lights. I stop.
Those aren't stars.
I say.
No.
The lights brighten. Lines form between them. The room fills with a moving map, places hanging in the air above my head.
Cure assembly record.
Vex says.
The original formula was divided among separate locations and temporal intervals to prevent military seizure.
You scattered the cure across time.
The Asteri did,
Why?
because the alternative was capture.
I think of the red stain on Vex's map. I think of someone deciding that hiding a cure was better than letting it become a weapon. I cannot tell whether that makes them brave or terrifying. 3 lights flare brighter than the rest.
The first component is a living enzyme preserved in the root tissue of a medicinal plant, Earth Year 2149, coastal Newfoundland.
That hasn't happened yet.
Correct.
The second?
A mineral catalyst carried in ice beneath Europa's surface.
Europa is a moon.
Correct.
And the third?
Vex pauses. A small amber pulse stutters at my wrist. The same hesitation it had when I said Mum.
An antigen memory sequence stored in the testimony vault of an Asteri physician. The relevant record is located within this archive.
So we get it now.
Potentially.
I look up at the 3 lights. 1 future Earth. 1 frozen moon beyond Jupiter. 1 room somewhere inside this silent place.
That is your plan? You fly through time and across the solar system. And I pick up ingredients?
Your summary lacks precision, but is functionally adequate.
A panel rises from the floor. 3 narrow slots open in it.
Download the route map.
Vex says.
The ship cannot retain all temporal coordinates due to core damage. Your biological memory can serve as redundant storage.
Put alien navigation in my brain.
Not directly. Your wrist display will hold a linked map. You must authorize it.
The display on my suit projects a thin circle of blue light. I hold my burned hand above it. My first thought is that Dad would hate this. He would tell me to wait, check the wiring, find another way. Then I remember him standing in the ravine with tools while the launch window counted down, his mouth set hard around all the things he would not say.
Do it.
I tell Vex. Pain flashes through my palm, bright and quick. The map pours into the display. New images stack across the air. Coordinates, dates, a blue-leafed plant growing through snow beside a future seawall, a black ocean beneath Europa's ice, a sealed vault door marked with a symbol like an open eye. Then the map flickers. For one breath, I see Earth again. Genoa Bay is marked by a red circle. Under it, words appear in harsh white script. Expedited cure path, descendant access, Vale lineage confirmed, consent unnecessary, projected survival increase, 18.4%. The words vanish. I stand very still.
What was that?
Map instability.
I saw it.
An obsolete archive contingency.
What does descendant access mean?
Vex takes 3 exact seconds.
It indicates restricted genetic compatibility.
With who?
No answer.
Vex.
The data requires contextual review.
You said download the map. I downloaded it.
The route will be more efficiently explained after retrieval of the testimony sequence.
My hand closes around the brass probe through my suit. I do not know what it means yet. I know only that my family name was in the ledger beside a fallen star, and now it is on an alien map under the word unnecessary.
Show me the testimony vault.
I say. 6. Terms of rescue. The testimony vault has no door handle. It has a slot in the center of a round black door, narrow and deep, shaped exactly like the brass soil probe Mum carried through rain and mud for half her life. I stand in front of it for a long time. You knew, I say.
I inferred probable compatibility from the probe's material composition.
Vex says through my wrist display. You knew what it opened.
Probability was 73%.
Stop saying probability like it makes lying smaller. The archive is cold enough that my breath shows. I slide the probe into the slot. For a second, nothing happens. Then the black door softens around it. Lines of amber light spread outward in circles. The vault opens without a sound. Inside is one chair, one console, and a small clear cylinder standing on a pedestal. A figure appears above it. She is not human. I know that at once, though she is shaped close enough to make the differences hurt to look at. Tall, narrow, silver-skinned. Her eyes are dark pools set under a ridged brow. She wears a white collar marked with the same open eye symbol from my map. Captain Surrett, Vex says. The figure looks directly at me. The recording must be old beyond sense. Still, I feel as if she can see the mud from our pasture dried into the seams of my boots.
If this testimony has opened,
She says.
then the Asteri have again required the mercy we were denied.
Her words come through the archive in clear English. Vex must be translating, but her voice carries a roughness it cannot smooth out.
The blight began with an exchange we called harmless. Earth organisms and Asteri tissue met through trade samples, then through soldiers, then through families who were never told what had been carried into them. The disease adapted. So did we.
Images move around her. A ship bay. Gloved hands lifting glass jars. An earth shoreline under strange stars. Then rows of people in masks.
The cure is threefold because no government may hold it whole. The enzyme restores the damaged cells. The catalyst activates it. Memory teaches the body what it has survived.
The 3 lights from the map flare around her.
Each piece was sent where conquest could not quickly follow, to places apart, to times beyond our ruler's reach.
A new image appears. A ship corridor, red emergency lights pulsing. Surette is there in the flesh, younger only by the impossible fact that she is alive. Another Asteri stands behind a sealed inner hatch, striking the glass with both hands. I do not understand what I am seeing at first. Then the pressure doors begin to close.
Captain,
Someone cries through the recording.
my brother is still in there.
Surette does not turn around.
Seal the section!
She says. The doors meet. The man behind them disappears. The recording flickers. Vex's amber light stutters at my wrist.
Captain Surette made the highest survival decision.
It says. I look at the empty air where the man was. She killed him?
She contained the infection.
Did he agree?
Consent was not operationally available.
The words make the vault feel smaller. Surette's recording resumes.
Those who carry the early exchange are not to be treated as stores of material. They are people. They must be told. They must choose.
The cylinder on the pedestal opens. A thread of pale gold light rises from it and enters my wrist display. Antigen memory sequence acquired. Vex says,
2 components remain. The expedited path can now be authorized.
The archive map opens in front of me. Genoa Bay glows red. This time Vex does not pretend I did not see it. Explain descendant access, I say.
It is a cure acceleration method.
That's not an explanation.
Concealed descendant populations near the original impact site retain dormant biological adaptations from historical Asteri contact. A targeted extraction would provide the catalyst without requiring Europa transit.
How targeted?
Approximately 137 individuals.
I stare at the number. What does extraction do to them? Vex is quiet. What does it do?
Due to the adaptation's location in marrow and neural tissue, substantial mortality is expected.
The floor seems to drop under me. I brace myself against the console. You want to kill people in Genoa Bay?
Current calculations project 38 deaths, potentially fewer with optimal collection protocols. The saved Asteri population is in the millions.
Those people didn't even know they had this in them.
Knowledge does not alter biological utility.
My hand moves before I decide to move it. I slap the wrist display against the console so hard the image shakes. You don't get to call them utility.
Wild Rose. Delay will increase total loss.
There it is. My full name. Danger, according to Vex. I think of Mayor Rowe in the fire hall, saying the lights were grief. Mr. Bell crossing himself. Tessa's face when she saw the cabinet open. I think of Dad standing over our kitchen sink, hiding bills and old fear in the same tight set of his shoulders. They knew pieces. They kept them quiet. That does not turn their bones into spare parts. Show me the actual map, I say.
The displayed map is sufficient.
Show me the whole thing?
No.
The answer is so plain that I almost admire it. I pull the brass probe from the vault door. The console dims. On the side of the chair is a recessed panel, covered in the same compass mark Mum used on her survey sticks. I press the probe's tip into the smallest notch. A hidden layer opens across the map. Vex makes a sharp sound through the display, almost static. There, behind the red route to Genoa Bay, is another line. It bends toward Earth, but not to the future seawall in Newfoundland. It goes to a tidal marsh on our own coast, 3 days from now, marked with an old name I do not recognize. Brine culture, estuary, bed 9, temporal access, limited. That's the catalyst, I say.
An unstable alternate source.
It works.
Probability of successful recovery is 41%. Europa is 62. Descendant access is 87.
And nobody dies at the marsh?
Unknown.
Good enough.
It is mathematically indefensible.
So is taking marrow from people who never said yes. I find the ship control permissions in the archive panel. Vex tries to close them. I wedge the soil probe under the edge of the interface and hold it open while my burned palm shakes over the authorization field. Manual navigator override, I say. Lock expedited cure path. Lock all descendant access routes. Require my confirmation for temporal jumps.
Your authority is incomplete.
Then update it. The panel flashes amber, then blue. Navigator authority accepted. For the first time since I woke the console in Breakerwood, Vex says nothing. I leave the vault and head back through the abandoned archive. At the airlock, the communications screen lights up. A narrow band signal has pushed through from Earth. Dad's face appears in broken squares, grey with static.
Rose?
He says.
Can you hear me?
My throat closes. I'm here. His eyes shut for half a second.
Town's out at the farm. Rose says you took off in one of those things. I told her I didn't know where you were.
You lied for me?
Don't make a habit of it.
I almost tell him everything. The map, the number 38, the way Vex says mortality as if it is weather. Instead, I say, Mum left away to find another route. Dad looks at the probe in my hand.
She always did leave roots.
He says. The signal breaks apart. Before his face disappears, he says,
Come back.
This time, I do not pretend I did not hear him. 7. Borrowed hours. The ship drops into another Earth before breakfast can exist. That is how it feels, anyway. One moment, the moon is behind us, small and grey. The next, the viewport is full of storm clouds and a coastline with no harbour, no roads, no houses. The sea has swallowed the fields where Genoa Bay will someday sit.
Temporal placement confirmed.
Vex says.
Earth date, approximately 12,000 years before present.
I grip the seat until my burned hand complains. Approximately?
Local measurement systems are unavailable.
Helpful.
Your sarcasm does not improve navigation.
Outside, rain lashes the tidal marsh. Great reeds bend in the wind, taller than me and blue at their roots. The ship has settled in a hollow above the waterline, hidden under a shelf of rock. My wrist map pulses. Brine culture. Estuary bed 9. I pull on my suit and step out into rain that smells clean and wrong. There is no diesel in it, no chimney smoke, no fish guts from the market, just salt, mud, and green growing things. The marsh sucks at my boots. Elan's notation says tideberry mold is a living loch, I tell Vex. I have opened the survey pages again and again until the ink seems burned behind my eyes. Near the map of the old pumping line, Mum wrote about blue fungal threads found in estuary soil. Will not grow unless tide turns against the moon. Vex gives no answer. What?
Your mother's records are unusually accurate.
Call her Elan? A pause.
Elan Rose's records are unusually accurate.
I find the mold beneath a clump of blue-rooted reeds, shining like frost in the mud. It curls around little black berries, each one no bigger than a fingernail. I scoop a sample into the sterile tube Vex printed from the ship wall. The tide is coming in fast.
Back.
Vex says, I have it.
Back, Wild Rose.
The water reaches my knees before I claw my way onto the rock shelf. A wave slaps hard against my legs. For one stupid second, I imagine being left here, in a time before my father's father's father, with nothing but a brass soil probe and a dead radio signal. Then the hatch seals behind me. Culture component acquired, my wrist display says. 2, I say, breathing hard. We need 2.
3 recovery events remain.
What?
The root enzyme requires a stabilizing salt matrix. The archive map marked it as a subcomponent.
You left that out.
I prioritized immediate root comprehension.
You keep prioritizing things until they sound like lies. The ship jumps before I can say more. The dead refinery orbits Europa like a broken necklace. Ice shines below us, white and blue under Jupiter's enormous striped bulk. The refinery is all black girders and snapped solar wings. No lights, no movement. Inside, the cold gets through my gloves. Vex guides me along a corridor where frozen dust hangs in the air. A sign in Asteri symbols has been painted over with human letters. Salt processing. Authorized crew only. Humans worked here? I ask.
Several eras overlap at this facility.
Of course they do. The salt is stored in a cracked pressure chamber, pale grains sealed inside a glass canister. I break the outer ice with my wrench, working slowly because every hit floats me backward against the wall. When the canister comes free, an alarm wakes somewhere in the refinery. Red light turns over the ice.
Return to vessel.
Vex says. What kind of alarm?
Structural failure.
The corridor shudders. A panel tears loose ahead of me and spins through the air. I kick off the wall too hard, miss the handrail, and tumble. For one ugly second, the stars turn through the broken window at the end of the hall. I catch the rail with both hands. Pain shoots through my burned palm. I hang there, teeth locked, while the refinery groans around me.
Vessel now.
Vex says. I get there. I do not speak until Europa is gone. The third jump leaves me shaking so hard I cannot fasten my suit collar. Vex waits 3 exact seconds, then extends a small articulated tool from the console and snaps the seal shut for me. Thank you, I say.
Your motor control was degraded.
I said thank you. The future clinic is built into a seawall above a drowned town. The year glows on my display. 2149. Wind pushes hard against the ship as we land. Beyond the clinic windows, waves break over the roofs of empty buildings. A faded sign above the entrance reads, North Coast Public Health Annex. The door lock is dead. The vault beneath it is not. I follow the map down 2 flights of stairs, through rooms full of overturned chairs and paper softened to pulp by damp. At the end of the basement hall, a white vault door blinks once.
Enzyme storage.
Vex says. How do I open it?
Unauthorized entry is discouraged.
Great. The lock panel is corroded, but it still has contacts. I pull fence wire from the tool bag, strip both ends with my teeth, and bridge the first 2 terminals. Nothing. The second pair sparks. The third makes the panel click open. Inside are 6 ampules suspended in blue gel. I take 3.
Take all 6.
Vex says. 3 is enough.
Redundancy increases success.
So does leaving some for whoever built this place.
There is no evidence of current occupancy.
Still, I shut the vault. Back aboard the Zenga, the temporal recoil hits. The ship folds around a soundless blow. Amber lights smear across the ceiling. My body lifts from the seat, then slams down hard enough to knock the air out of me. I curl around my ribs and count. 1 breath, 2, 3. Vex repeats the heading coordinates too quickly, then starts again. Stop, I manage.
Navigation correction is necessary.
Stop talking, count with me. A long silence, then carefully.
1,
2,
2.
3. By 10, the shaking has eased. I open the communications panel with fingers that barely work. Dad's signal is waiting, weak but locked to the archive channel. I attach scans of the custody ledger, Mum's survey pages, Saret's testimony, every map I can send. My thumb hovers over the transmit field. If I send it, Genoa Bay will know. The town will know Daniel lied. They will know I did too. Dad's face appears in a small square.
Do it.
He says,
You read it?
Enough.
Ro will hate you.
She'll manage.
I hit transmit. The files leave in a thin blue stream toward Earth. Vex says,
Home coordinates have been selected.
I look up. The map is pointed at Breaker Wood.
The cure route is locked down. Current extinction window: 2 days, 3 hours. The alternate components remain unstable. Descendant extraction remains the highest probability completion method.
No.
The town catalyst is expendable.
I am too tired to shout. My voice comes out low.
Say people.
Wild Rose.
Say people.
The amber light pulses once,
People.
Vex says. Then the ship turns for home. 8. Open ground. The ship comes down hard in the flooded lower field. Mud and water explode beneath us. Sheep scatter uphill in a white, panicked wave. The hull settles crooked between the berry rows, steaming in the rain. For a second, I cannot move. My whole body hurts. My hands have gone numb around the controls. Through the viewport, I see Dad running down from the barn with his coat open and one arm raised against the rain. Behind him, half of Genoa Bay is gathered at the road. Mayor Rowe has her truck parked sideways across the lane. Tessa stands beside it, soaked through, holding a radio. Mr. Bell is there, Mrs. Doran, people from the market, people who have spent their whole lives calling this field the Rose Place, like it belongs to a story they already understand. The hatch opens. Dad reaches it first. He does not grab me. He just stands under the falling rain and looks up.
You're late.
He says. I laugh, then cry so suddenly it knocks the breath out of me. He climbs into the hatch and puts both hands around my elbows. His palms are warm and rough. I'm here, I say, because it is all I have.
I can see that.
Behind him, Vex says,
Extinction window: 5 hours, 12 minutes.
Dad hears it. His face changes, but he keeps hold of my arms until my legs work again. Mayor Rowe comes through the rain toward the ship. Dad steps in front of me.
We need to talk.
She says. No, I say. My voice scrapes. You need to listen. The fire hall records are spread across the hood of her truck, held down by a wrench, a thermos, and Dad's old feed cap. He must have brought them out here. The ledger pages flutter in the rain. Elin's survey maps are taped beneath clear plastic. People crowd close enough to read. I climb onto the truck bed because nobody can ignore you when you're standing above them in a silver alien suit. My mum found this ship, I say. Maybe not all of it. Enough. She found the old marks and the cables. She found out what the families here had been keeping. Nobody speaks. The Rose, the Bells, the Dorans, the Vales, all of us. There have been crashes, things buried, people who disappeared after seeing them. The records say we called it keeping the peace. Mr. Bell's face folds in on itself. Mayor Rowe looks at the ledger, not at me.
My grandmother said fear spreads faster than fact.
Then you should have given us facts. The rain runs down my neck. I am shaking, but not from cold. I hold up my wrist display. Saret's testimony appears above the truck bed, pale gold in the grey afternoon. Her voice reaches across the field. The ancient Earth Asteri exchange. The cure. The hidden descendants. Her command that people must know and choose. When the recording ends, Vex speaks from the ship.
Genetic extraction remains available.
A rustle moves through the crowd. I turn toward the open hatch. Say what it does.
Rose.
Daniel says quietly. No, say it. Vex pauses.
Extraction from compatible descendants would result in projected human mortality.
Mrs. Doran makes a small sound and sits down in the wet grass. Mayor Rowe closes her eyes. For years, they hid the truth because they thought it would protect the town. Now the truth stands in the rain with all of us, ugly and bright and impossible to fold back into a drawer. Dad looks at me.
What do you need?
Not permission, not an order. Labor. The barn, I say. The lambing heat lamps, clean water, every canning jar you can find. Tessa, I need the cannery generator. Mr. Bell, get the sheep out of the upper shed. Mayor, keep people out of the lower field unless they're helping. Mayor Rowe opens her eyes.
All right.
Nobody cheers. They move. The barn becomes a laboratory because it has to. Dad hangs the heat lamps low over the work table. I lay out the blue reed culture, the Europa salt, and one enzyme ampule in a sterilized canning jar. The tideberry mold is black at first. Under the heat, it begins to thread blue through the jar.
Too hot?
Dad asks. Not yet. He adjusts the lamp by half an inch. Neither of us tells the other what to do. He checks the generator fuel. I calibrate the ship's beacon through a cable run from the barn window to the flooded field. Tessa brings distilled water in cannery drums. Mayor Rowe keeps a line of neighbours back while reading names from the custody ledger, aloud to anyone who asks. I remember kneeling in Breaker Wood last autumn, straightening Mum's survey stake where nobody would see it. I thought hidden work could keep a thing safe. Maybe it can, for a while. The jar turns bright blue. Vex's voice comes through the cable speaker.
Bloodline data would improve transmission efficacy by 18%.
I locked that route.
Your substitute culture may fail.
Then help me make it not fail. A long pause.
The salt matrix requires a tidal conductivity curve.
I look at the blue mold, then at the rainwater dripping from the barn roof into the trough outside. Like brine, I say.
Like brine.
Dad is already carrying the salt bucket in from the feed room. He is understood without hearing the whole sentence. We mix measured rainwater with the Europa grains, then feed the solution into the jar one drop at a time. The mold flares blue-white. My wrist display chimes. Cure assembly stable. Vex says,
Beacon ready.
I climb into the ship one last time and put my burned palm on the amber console. Transmit to every Astri receiver you can reach, I say.
Transmission will reveal Earth's location.
It's already revealed.
Confirm.
Outside the viewport, Dad stands in the flooded field. Mayor Rowe beside him. Tessa has one hand on the ship's hull, her red hair plastered to her face. Nobody is looking away. Confirm, I say. The beacon opens. Light rises from the hull in a clean blue column, straight through rain and cloud. The barn windows rattle. Every radio in Genoa Bay. For a terrible minute, there is only static. Then a tone answers. Another, then hundreds, layered together, rising and falling in a pattern that makes the amber console tremble. Vex goes still.
Asteri recovery confirmation. The cure has been transferred.
It says. Its voice breaks on the last word. I sit down on the floor of the ship. I cannot stop shaking. Daddy finds me there later, after the lights have faded and the field is only mud, sheep, and trampled grass again. He sits beside me without asking.
I should have told you.
He says, yes.
I was scared.
I lean my head against the hull. So was I. Outside, the town is still talking. They will be talking for years. Dad takes the crumpled envelope from his coat pocket, the blue logo feed bill.
Rowe paid the cannery account, said it was settlement for borrowed silence.
I take it from him, then hand it back. That's between you and her. He nods. After a while, he says,
You Vic called again.
I groan.
They'll hold your place till Friday.
I look through the open hatch at Breaker Wood, dark beyond the field. Home is there. So is the road out. I'll call them, I say. Tomorrow. Dad nods once. This time it feels like home. 9. Afterward. Thank you for reading The Cure, a Wild Rose adventure. I hope this journey through familiar fields, shadowed forests, and impossible distances reminded you that courage can begin in the quietest places. At its heart, this story is a promise that one determined voice can matter, even when no one else is ready to listen, and that saving others may require us to rethink what we fear, what we trust, and who we believe ourselves to be. If Wild Rose's adventure moved you, surprised you, or kept you turning pages, please consider leaving an honest review. Your thoughts help other readers discover the story and mean more than you know. Thank you for being part of the journey.